Any sound? Can anyone hear the sound? Looking for the sound. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the podcast. We're just getting started tonight here, tracking Hurricane Idalia, and we're just getting all of the telemetry up and all of the maps for you. So there is no problem with the sound, and we were just trying to get up all the video feeds, and I didn't hit the unmute when we tried to go live here just a minute ago. So what we're looking at here is a historic storm making its way just east of Tallahassee in the Appalachia Bay. It's going to create a swath of heavy rain that's going to be record 8 to 12 inches of rain from Tallahassee north all the way to North Carolina. And that the most significant effects are just starting to happen now. The storm surge to the south in Fort Myers is just starting to push up into the bays. It won't be for another 2 to 3 hours that Tampa Bay could be seeing some of the storm surge, which coincides with the high tide there. But it's not going to be another 8 hours until this storm makes landfall just east of Tallahassee. Now, the latest telemetry we got is quite significant. The latest telemetry that's coming in from a storm chaser that we just got 5 minutes ago is showing 112 mile per hour winds at the center of circulation. That means that this storm is officially Cat 3 before the media can say it is. And that happened about 15 minutes ago, just when we started the podcast here. So we would expect this storm to take enough time over the next 6 to 8 hours to actually get to major Cat 3, potentially Cat 4. And I really don't want to be going out on a limb here and saying that this storm could be Cat 4, but based on what we're seeing, it's not really good news. So let's just jump into some of the information here and take a look at this. This is the Saffir-Simpson scale of hurricane winds. And like I said, 15 now to 20 minutes ago, the official report from the center of circulation coming in was at 112 miles per hour. And you can see here, based on that puts it at a very young Cat 3 devastating storm. And we still have 6 to 10 hours of this storm to gather more power before it makes landfall just east of Tallahassee in 6 to 10 hours. Our prediction is 7 to 8 a.m. Florida time for landfall just east of Tallahassee, with a storm surge between 12 and 15 feet. That's life-threatening. And if you're in an evacuation zone from Tallahassee east, we recommend you get out of harm's way. Now, there's some bad news coming out from the storm, similar to Maui, where infrastructure failures are happening as we speak. And it's bad news. These infrastructure failures include contaminated gasoline with diesel fuel. So this is causing engines to fail and people to get stuck on the highway, which there are very few evacuation routes out of this region, just a few highways. And so that's what's going on there. I see a super chat here. Victor Debs, that's a boom in the room. We appreciate you. And please keep the super chats coming as we are demonetized across the board, because Lee and I have been doing some pretty spectacular work as far as pointing out the climate alarmism gobbledygook. Now, Esfera, Elton Butterfield in the house. These are Voyages in the Quantum Vortex. Jimmy in the house. Midlander, North Carolina. I am Ronson. Alien Allen's here. Renee Cruz, Pete Yeager, Tammy Redfield. Who else we got in here? Stunt Tripper. Morning Glory. Steffers J. PR D'Amico, welcome to the show. Gene Feist is in the house, and many others. We appreciate all of you. Joe Mercado, Amy V, welcome to the program. So this storm is just getting started. Not the major effects are just starting to happen. Tampa Bay and south. And in the next 3 to 6 hours, that storm surge is going to push up into Tampa Bay. And it's not going to be for the next 6 to 10 hours that the major effects, the 12 to 15 foot storm surge, will affect the regions that we're most worried about. Let's bring up some of these graphics so you can get up to speed with what we're talking about. Now, the first graphic we'll present here is the peak storm surge. And let me see if I can go get that so I can actually read it. So the peak storm surge, we're talking Yankeetown north to Aquila River. Aquila. I'm sure someone knows in the chat how to pronounce that. But it's basically from Tallahassee south to Yankeetown, the area of the most devastation. This could go all the way down to the Anclote or Anclote River, where storm surge is expected to be as high as 9 feet. This is no joke. So this is not a conspiracy theory. This is not something we're making up. Take heed, because this is a very significant event. And in many of these regions on that purple line there, where the 10 to 15 foot storm surge is expected, those would all be record levels, the highest ever recorded in the armpit of the state of Florida. Frequency of the Earth, new member. That's a boom. We appreciate you. Thank you for getting involved at that level. It always helps the program to donate in any way. All of you out there can always help share this program. It's free, and that gets more people in here looking at us. 247 in the house. We appreciate you all. Jason M. Schmidt now in the house with the boom. We love you, Jason. Stunt stripper. Oh, Ciola. Yes. Frequency of the Earth. Hey, it's me again. The Moon Effect. Kim Larso in the house. We appreciate you. Oregon prepping. Florida would be nice to visit if no one lived there. Yeah, it would be awesome. You could hunt alligators, fish the biggest fish in the world, etc., etc. I caught like 5 and 6 foot barracuda off the Florida Keys about 2 decades ago. Wonderful fishing there. Also king and other types of mackerel, Spanish and king mackerel on the same boat. Okay, Holbert's Meadows in the house. Peace to you as well. I am Ronson is here, still making the bath bombs. Adam Bomb in the house. So, yeah, full moon boom tonight. We've got the full blue moon boom. Tonight's the first night. Tomorrow is the full moon night. But they're only just a few % off from each other. So go out and look up. Silly Wabbit says hello from Northeast Oklahoma. Good to see a lot of people from all over the country tuning in. Wonder why these big storms always seem to hit around the full moon. Well, it's the full moon boom effect. Now, some people think this is a government conspiracy, that Ron DeSantis is keeping these people in their cribs. And, well, I don't really know the real math, but let's start to bring up some of the conspiracy theories and see if we can get ourselves shut down. Shall we? Let me see. Let me present some of this stuff, and we'll see if we can get the Ron DeSantis conspiracy theory up here. Where is it? All right, I'm looking for it. Stick with us. Damn, did I erase it? Is it not here? It is gone. We've got, let me get up my Twitter. All right, let me get up my Twitter. It's on there. Hold on. If you want to follow us on Twitter, please go to @DiamondTheDave. That's our tweet box. So I'm over here at our Twitter, and let's get this blown up here with the ultra MAGA Florida widespread gasoline shortages. And we're going to start to unravel some of these conspiracy theories right before your very eyes. Let me see where that is. Yes, let's go here. All right, can you see me now? Boom. Here we go. Ultra MJ Truth. Are you ready for the truth? I don't think you are. And I hope I can find it. All right. Florida, widespread gasoline contamination with diesel. I'm sure this is not on the mainstream media yet. It should be happening or breaking in the next hour. Stations affected by the contamination have been asked to stop selling gasoline until the fuel is replaced and the tanks are cleaned. I'm getting Maui vibes here, according to Ultra MJ Truth. Right before a major tropical storm, thousands, possibly hundreds of thousands of vehicles are affected, as well as home generators. Stinks like sabotage. People have put gasoline into their generators and cars at all of these gas stations in the region that's being evacuated, which are contaminated with diesel. This is causing engines to seize, and then you can't go forward. There's no quick fix to this. It's the end of the product. So if you're in any of these regions, please go follow over at our Twitter at Diamond the Dave to find out the areas with the contaminated gasoline and get up to speed. And here's what Ron DeSantis had to say. Well, actually, the people with him.
The State Emergency Response Team is here in the EOC working tirelessly to be prepared for any direction that this storm may take. And I thank them for their continued hard work for Floridians.
How's the audio?
Additionally, the state has been made aware of a situation involving fuel contamination at gas stations serviced by the Port of Tampa. I want to ensure Floridians that we are coordinating here at the EOC with everyone from petroleum retailers to the ports themselves to ensure that the disruption will not be widespread or prolonged and that residents can have seamless access to fuel. At the direction of the governor, as he's already mentioned, we have already waived the size, weight, and hour restrictions for getting those necessary resources into the state and down to consumers as quickly and effectively as possible. FDAX has just released a statement related to this fuel contamination, and they are conducting investigations on how widespread the situation is, and what you can do in specific situations if you're impacted. If you think your car may be affected, please call the Florida Department of Agriculture Consumer Services Consumer Hotline at 1-800-435-7352 for English, and for Spanish, 1-800-352-9832.
Clearly, that just froze up there. So that is the report on, well, it's the week report. That is kind of a pathetic report on what's happening in this region. Let's see if we can get some more good visuals coming up here that we can share. I don't have my other computer set up to the right. If we did that, this would go a lot more flawlessly, but it's been a very busy day. Put up 3 videos, did an early morning video, took a 3-mile hike with some older people, took a few hours, made dinner for a whole group of people. And now I came out here to do all this work for you. I've literally been working since 6 a.m. So we're now 12, 13, 14, 15 hours into the process. We'll probably stay here for at least an hour more to get you up to speed on what's happening. So we've got the perigee of the moon. It's the closest to Earth it's ever been. We've got high tides happening in 3 hours in Florida, another one 12 hours from there. As the storm approaches from Tampa Bay north, there's going to be 2 phases of ultimate flooding and then a 3rd phase of the most deadly flooding. The 3rd phase is after it makes landfall and moves up to Georgia, which is going to be bad news because not only will the moon be full and it'll be a full moon boom, but it's going to be massive flooding and massive storm surge. Let's look at the precipitation potential, which is not going to be very fantastic for those that are actually looking. We're looking at a region here, Tallahassee at the center with 6 to 10 inches of rain, and another area with Augusta in the center from Georgia up into South Carolina. Huge swaths. We're talking hundreds of square miles with 6 to 10 inches of rain. That's going to be major flash flooding. It's all going to run into the major river systems, which is going to cause major flooding towards the coast a day later. Same thing happening up here just east and south of Raleigh-Durham. We're talking from Hatteras to Wilmington. All these coastal rivers will be flooding. And this is going to be bad news. All of the biggest catastrophes from the weakest tropical storms and hurricanes, Cat 1, 2, and 3 up the East Coast and the Gulf Coast, as they move across land, it is this subsequent latter flooding in day 1 and 2 after the event that caused the most damage and displaced the most people. So those on the coast that we're praying for in the next 6 to 8 hours, pale in comparison to the hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people that will be affected as this storm moves across the southeast, Georgia, South Carolina, and North Carolina, and causes catastrophic flooding over the next 42 to 78 hours. Some of these rivers will take 96 hours to peak in North and South Carolina, and the loss of life and homes, we're going to be reporting on it for days. So we have tons of content to bring to you. And add the 13% added moisture from Hunga Tunga, the perigee of the full moon, and thankfully there is no space weather. If we had a third addition to this trifecta, oh my goodness, it would be record-breaking. Not to say the least, this is going to be record-breaking nonetheless. So, record-breaking storm headed our way. Landfall in just now 7 to 9 hours. Yes, just east of Tallahassee. It is not going to be a big one. It is going to be a huge one. This is going to be record-breaking in every way you can think of it. And what I mean by that is that there has never been an example when storm surge has been predicted for 12 to 15 feet in this region, Tallahassee and south. And both of the European model as well as the GFS model is confirming everything we've just said in the last, let's say, 20 minutes and 40 seconds. So welcome to the show, Desert Rose, and everyone else that just came to the platform. Paul C. Yeah, bye and good night. Eric Court says, howdy, Orp family. Alien Allen is in the house. We appreciate you. R6D2 says is that the storm surge is going to be epic. Yeah, it's going to be epic for this region. Cedar Key to Tallahassee in that Apalachicola Bay. What is that called? That has a name. I don't have the graphics up, and I'm not from Florida. But that bay region here, yeah, Apalachicola to Cedar Key. Holy macaroni. Record-breaking storm surge is going to be felt there. And yeah, it is absolutely going to be epic. R6D2. Now, according to Jimmy, oh, there's Alien Allen. He's waving. We love you too, bro. What does the quantum vortex say? Yes, hashtag ORP. We appreciate that. If you want to follow us on the tweet box, which is now X at Diamond the Dave, please go there now. And if you haven't heard, we've been hard hit on the demonetization front. Yeah. They're retroactively taking down all the good science we're doing over at Magnetic Reversal News. If you're listening to us on there, and they've recently demonetized one of the last 5 videos over on Oppenheimer Ranch Project because we report on the truth and the facts, and sometimes those don't align with the narrative, which is bad news for them. Good news for our listeners because they become informed, but always bad news for our pocketbooks. I do digress. Had a great birthday dinner last night. I just cooked dinner for a bunch of people today. It was a 100% Oppenheimer Ranch dinner. They got pork chops from our guinea hog named Beatrix that were delicious. They claim that the flavor, it was so deep and the profile was so unique that it was the most unique pork they ever ate, as well as our potatoes, 3 varieties that we just harvested yesterday, our garlic harvested this week. We also had a local salad with our greenhouse tomatoes that blew their mind. Never tasted a tomato like that in the last 5 years. Hello! Well, grow your own and learn a little something. Please, Pete, set up a PayPal account. Give us a couple dollars. All right, how's everyone doing tonight? Hey, if you haven't heard, our little fur baby Gremlin, who's been with us since the beginning, we got her at 4 months old. You've all watched her grow up on the channel. And the biopsy came in and her cancer was 100% removed. The area that they removed, they sample it all around. and the malignant tumor was completely encased in the removed product, meaning they got 100% removal. It was the lowest level malignant cancer. And because she's a 6.5-year-old dog, she has a 100% chance of living for the rest of her life. So that's awesome news for Grammy, as well as the rest of the family. And hopefully you can all get to meet our dogs at one time or the other. Eric Court, we love you with your super chat, $2. And that's a boom. As we continue with the update, we're about to get to the key message and many other warnings for the people in this region. Now, there's hard times happening with the people trying to evacuate from this region, as there is contaminated gasoline that we just reported on mixed with diesel. And there is about 2 or 3 dozen stations involved. Some people are shut down the roadways. People are claiming this is Maui 2.0. But I assure you, there will be no fires in the deluge that is about to come. All right, let's check out to see who's in the area. We have almost 400 people watching live on 2 channels, 25 minutes in. I appreciate y'all watching us. This is going to be a historic storm, and we just wanted to bring you some of the latest updates. The biggest footage and the storm surge is not going to begin for another 4 hours, where I will be deep in sleep, waiting for the updates in the morning. And the most dangerous situation as this makes landfall in just east of Tallahassee will be between 6 and 10 a.m., where most people are waking up. So people may wake up with their homes inundated because they stayed in the path of danger. And there's no way to get out at that point. So you need to shelter in place, get up to high ground, and just wait it out. This is a very quick moving storm. So if the surge is peaking and you get up to the roof, just sit there for a few hours. This pressure and the storm is going to quickly move away. Within 6 hours, it will be sunny again in Florida, and the devastation will be revealed to the masses. This isn't going to be a slow-moving thing that takes a while to get rescued from. It's going to be sunny just a few hours after everything is destroyed, from Apalachicola down to Sarasota. And I hope you all have your preps in place and you've all moved inland 10 or 20 miles. This is not going to be a fun run. This is going to be an historic storm. Even though it's just Cat 3 at landfall, it's the historic storm surge. The fact that the moon is the closest to us until 2038 and thus and such, there are additive effects to the effects of this storm. So please, let's look at the, let's take a look at the key message and see if anyone else has something awesome to say here. Ryan Hall is going live at 5 a.m. Yeah, that's because that's when the shit's about to hit the fan, which we just said. So only confirmed by one of the greatest independent meteorologists on the interwebs, Ryan Hall. Y'all, he's going live at 5 a.m. because he's probably in place somewhere just east of Tallahassee, and I hope he's hunkered down. And Weed Trimmer is probably headed that way too, so he's a simmer dimmer. Now, this is, can you imagine if this was like hitting the Texas, the nexus of the Schmexus? How amazing this would be. Yeah, bye-bye outdoor ganja crops in Florida. Well, in this region, Tallahassee, East, etc. Please harvest now. All right. It's fun to read the comments, but let's go on to a screen share that makes sense because it could save your ass. Key message for Hurricane Idalia. This is advisory 13. Let's refresh it. Make sure it's, same one. This is for Tuesday, August 29th, 2023. Catastrophic impacts from storm surge inundation of 10 to 15 feet above ground level and destructive waves are expected somewhere between Aquila River and Yankeetown. Life-threatening storm surge inundation is likely elsewhere along portions of the Florida Gulf Coast. Where a storm surge warning is in effect, residents in these areas should follow any advice given by local officials, or else drowned, or hopefully you have a dinghy. There is the potential for destructive, life-threatening winds where the core of Idalia moves onshore in the Big Bend region of Florida, with hurricane conditions expected elsewhere in portions of the hurricane warning area along the Florida Gulf Coast. Strong winds will also spread inland across portions of northern Florida and southern Georgia near the track in the center of Adalia, where hurricane warnings are in effect. Residents in these areas should be prepared for long-duration power outages. Damaging hurricane-force winds are possible in the portions of eastern Georgia and southeastern South Carolina, where hurricane watches are in effect. Now, the bad news is that none of this is happening now, and it will be happening shortly in the future. I'm going to quick pull up Power Outage US, and we'll take a look at what's going on there. And I will give you an audible 17,000 without power in Florida. Now, that's it. That number is going to hit 500,000 to 2 million by late day tomorrow. Well, mark my words. I'm going to lean towards 1.7 to 8 million at the max. And you can hold me to that, and I guarantee I'll be within 10%. So 1.7 to 1.8 million without power by 6 p.m. Florida time tomorrow night. And then the recovery begins. Then the power outages move to Georgia. Then they move to South Carolina. Then they move to North Carolina. In the end, we're going to see 5 to 8 million people without power in a single 24-hour period. This is a test. It's a test to our linesmen and our capabilities to get the infrastructure back up. Are you picking it up? We just put it down. Holy macaroni. Thank you, Trace Noel, for becoming a new member. We appreciate you. And we've got the Vernon, 52 in the house, Crystal. A couple new names here. Let's take a look. Diane Sanchez. Thank you for your integrity and the information, and boom to knowledge. We agree. California, Hawaii, Florida. Who's next? Well, it's going to be an Atlantic storm that hits the East Coast. Could be one because the waters are warm that makes it all the way up to New England. But I don't control the weather, so please don't come here to kill me like others have. All right, let's see where we are in the chats. Vernon says, boom it up. All right, we're booming it up. All right, what are we looking at here? Let's present some more data, and then we'll get out of here. There's only so much we can talk about in one single evening. Storm surge is going to be ridiculous. Let's look at the latest updates, perhaps, on Idalia and see what they're doing here. It's not on the verge of reaching Cat 3 status. It did that moments before we started the podcast, so they're clearly not up to speed with what's going on with the storm. It reached Cat 3 status hours ago, and it still has about 8 hours to intensify before it makes landfall between, let's say, 7 and 9 a.m., just east of Tallahassee. Yeah, this is such a difficult thing to do here. Let's present something that's worth looking at. There we go. All right, so here we're looking at the live tropical alerts, and this has been shifting pretty normally as we move through. The European model and the GFS are not too far off, so the European model is just a little later than the GFS. GFS showing a much more intense storm, staying a hurricane all the way through much of Georgia. So this is going to be some historic rainfall, some historic flooding, like nobody's business. Jesse, $5, keeping it real. That's boom. We love you. We appreciate the super chat. Unacceptable living in left field. Thank you for the super sticker. Nobody's quicker. And Trees, Lanell, I probably screwed all that up. Thank you for becoming a member. We appreciate you. Renee Cruz, always one of the biggest fans of Rex and ours. What does she just show here? I don't know if that's a cricket. She can hear the cricket in the background, I guess. And that is, Renee Cruz is clearly like a 375-pound, 63-year-old guy. And that's the picture that he puts up there. Just my guess. What do you guys think? Yeah, historic storm coming. No one's bumming. Be prepared. Don't be scared. Thank you to all the 384 people that tuned in. There's nothing else we can do. We've warned you. We told you about the key messages. Diane Sanchez says, see your PayPal donation. I will, Diane, and we appreciate you and all you do. You know, they've been hacking away at us for 10 years. We keep figuring new pathways to get back at you, to stay productive and to stay, well, we need positive cash flow here. I can't do this work 24 hours a day for you for 10 years and not get anything in return. You guys all understand that. We appreciate you all. Tammy Radfield, one of the biggest super fans. We love you. You're hearing the crickets? You can all hear the crickets? R6D2 wants me to stay on. No, I got to go to bed, man. I've been up for way too long, and I still have things planned. And Leah's parents are leaving in the morning. I got to do brunch. I got to cook there. I'm really busy, man. I can only do so many things. I got to turn the water off. The sprinklers are still on. 2 greenhouses to water in the morning. On and on. The birds, I still have to put them to bed. I did this for you, not for me. I did this to inform the public, to get out of harm's way. There's not much time. If you're in this area, I try to explain why the gas is contaminated and what's going on. So you've all been up to speed. This is a historic storm, and there's still 2 more days of podcasting on what's about to happen. Nothing has happened yet. Historic flooding, Tallahassee North through Tifton, and all of Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina is still happening over the next 24 hours. This fast-moving storm is intensifying. It's going to be dropping historic rain amounts. Will make landfall as Cat 4 now predicted. And this is going to be bad for many people in this region that did not get out of harm's way. We warned you. Be safe. We love each and every one of you. Please share this video to share this warning with people. This storm is now predicted to make landfall in Tallahassee in 6 hours as a Cat 4. Storm surge could be as high as 18 feet now. And that is a boom to knowledge. Be safe. We love you.